Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to this episode of BiblioTech on Air. I'm Rosanna.
I'm Ruby.
And I'm Israel.
And today we have a special guest with us. We have Veronica Salinas, the Senior Manager of Client Services over at Haven for Hope, which, as y'all know, they do a great help for the community, hold biannual, resource fairs, and just it's absolutely massive what they do. So thank you for joining us today, Veronica.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Of course.
And I'm really excited to be here.
We're excited to have you.
Yeah.
We do have a set of questions to guide our discussion and guide our interview, but can you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm the Senior Manager of Client Services at Haven for Hope. I have been with Haven going on 14 years. This month will be my 14th year.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I truly love working at Haven. So Haven for Hope is a homeless shelter,
Yeah.
okay? And we are an emergency homeless shelter here in San Antonio. We're very unique. There's no other homeless shelter in San Antonio or in the United States that is just like our campus. And so right now we are serving right under 1,700 people on our campus. And so if you're not familiar with our campus, there are two different parts to our campus. There is what we refer to as the low barrier. A lot of people refer to it as the courtyard. And that part of our campus is, you do have to be 18 years old. And you don't have to be a resident of Bexar County. And you're kind of like, it's up to you if you want to get connected to services. There is a building called the Resource Center where our clients that are staying at the courtyard, they have access to services there. On our main campus, what we refer to as North Campus, or the transformational part of our campus, the requirements with regards to that part of our campus, you do have to be a resident of Bexar County of San Antonio and show proof of that. Of course, a proof of homelessness for both sides of our campus. You do have to have a government-issued ID, and we are going to run a sex offender background check on everybody across the board. So one of the things, I'm going to go back to the courtyard. So the courtyard sex offenders are allowed in that part of our campus, and only on that part of our campus, versus on our North Campus, because we have families and individuals, sex offenders are not allowed on that part of our campus. And so that is the biggest difference between both North Campus and South Campus. But as far as services, it's going to be equal. Whatever we're providing on our campus, those same exact services are going to be offered at the courtyard. But the biggest difference is that on the North Campus, there's there's case management, there's more accountability with regards to clients getting connected to services, versus on our South Campus, it's that individual. If they want to get connected, they're going to be the ones doing the walking to get into the resource center. And so, but once they get connected to services, they're going to be able to get connected. Now, we also do have I have coworkers that do outreach in the courtyard. So let's say for some individuals, like, they just they're not ready. But, I have coworkers that go out into the courtyard to get connected and say, hey, that building right there, there's, if you want to get connected to counseling or clinical, we have clinical screenings or employment services or chaplain services, whatever it is. And so sometimes, clients need that little nudge or that little encouragement. Definitely. And so, we do the outreach team really does work on and trying to get connected to everybody that's there at the courtyard.
Yeah, and so on the topic of services, so how does Haven for Hope assess and tailor like the support and the services that it provides for those like in the North Campus, South Campus? They all receive the same services and it's available to them. But how do they assess and tailor those supports and to meet everyone's unique needs?
Right. So, with regards to North Campus, of course, our clients are assigned a team,
Yeah.
a case management team, and so the case manager is responsible for doing an individual assessment on that individual or that individual family. So, depending on where they're at, we're kind of like we're person centered, and so there are certain things that, of course, we're going to encourage our clients to make sure and start getting the ball rolling per se, and so, but that assessment piece is really crucial, and they do a semi-assessment
Gotcha.
at intake also. In the very beginning, I started off at intake, working at intake, and I was there for 4.5 years. And that was a great experience because I saw the beginning of the story where clients are coming in, people are coming in, asking for help, asking for shelter. And so, once again, was there for about 4.5 years. And then from there, I transitioned into the family team. So I was helping out the family case managers, and I was doing all the housing for all the families.
Wow.
And so I was with the family team for a couple of years, about 2.5 years. And during that time, it was my responsibility to, of course, interview all the families,
Yeah.
get to know them, talk to them about what their rental history was, with regards to how are we going to get them housed, and making that connection. And I learned so much doing that because, you don't realize when you're asking questions for the families like, hey, what's your rental history, that you might end up triggering somebody
Yeah.
because of the trauma that they experience with regards to losing their housing. So that was a great learning experience for me, learning how to change my conversation with regards to our clients being trauma informed, making sure that I was not saying something or not pushing with regards to getting that information. I wanted the families to feel comfortable with regards to giving me their information,
Yeah.
because we have to ask, really hard questions, their past rental history, evictions, broken leases, if they have a rental history. And so that was a great learning experience. So I was with the family team getting the families housed, and part of that job also entailed me going out, following the families once we got them housed, and following them for at least three months or so, making sure that they were okay, that they were settled into their new house or apartment or whatever residence that we got them in, and making sure, just reminding them, hey, don't forget, these are the things that you need to do to take care of your rent, your lease, your voucher, or whatever type of program that we're in. And then shortly after that, they created a new department at Haven called Coordinated Enrichment. And so my boss, who was the family case manager, became the director of this department. So I transitioned to that department. And so Coordinated Enrichment, we were kind of like put in charge of making sure that there was enrichment activities on the Haven campus, not only for the families, but also for the single adults. So, strategizing, what are we going to do? How are we going to make the time that our clients have on our campus more fulfilling? Of course, they have per se a job that they have to do. Of course, we want them to get an income and their housing plan. But we also want to make sure that we don't forget about having some type of an activity for them to de-stress. Okay? Because, coming onto our campus, you can only just imagine the amount of maybe trauma and stress that individuals are going through. And so we just wanted to make sure that, hey, there's an hour you could go play bingo. Hey, there's going to be a movie night.
Nice.
So there was some time for togetherness, time for families, the parents to to be with their kids in a different type of setting, that it was just not all, what's going to happen, where am I, how quickly am I going to get housed? And so that department grew into client services, which is where I'm at right now. And so all those different events and activities, it just kept on going. And so there's several things that we put on or that we're in charge of throughout the year, being on the Haven campus. And of course, one of them is the resource fair that I have twice a year, that we love the BiblioTech coming to our resource fair. And so that is it's an opportunity not for our clients to get connected with so many different resources and programs.
Yeah, definitely. And we will touch on that resource fair a little bit later on. But thank you for sharing all of that. 14 years. That's a good amount of time.
Oh, yeah.
That's great. That's amazing.
So I've seen, like I shared with you when I started off at Intake. And to be honest with you, before I was at Intake, I used to work with Sam Ministries. And I was in the dorms. Worked in the dorms, getting the individuals settled into their beds or their dorm rooms. So when I left Sam's to start with Haven, I saw the beginning of the story. And then working with the family case management, I saw that transformation of individuals coming at the front door. And then once they're on our campus, they're getting acclimated to our campus, meeting with their case managers or employment services or housing services or whatever it is. You see that change.
Yeah, definitely.
You see that transformation. And then, of course, I experienced them leaving our campus because I had to follow a lot of the families into the community. And so it was just very rewarding.
I can only imagine,
seeing that, how they came in the very beginning and how they're leaving at the very end.
You know what I really like about what you're sharing is that you've seen the transformations not only with the families, but with Haven as an organization and how much it's grown.
Absolutely.
That is amazing.
Yeah, I want to share with you a story.
Yeah.
So one time I was at our local H-E-B grocery store, and I heard somebody say, Miss Veronica, and I was just like, who's calling me? And it happened to be a family that I did an intake at. And so we got to talking, and I was like, how are you doing? She's like, I'm doing really good. And she shared with me that she was working with the school district and that her son was doing really good. And I was just like, oh, I'm so excited for her. And she was like, Miss Veronica, I'm just like you. And I was taken aback. I was like, what? She was like, I'm just like you. 2 moms coming to H-E-B after work, trying to figure out what we're going to make for dinner. And I was like, absolutely, absolutely. And I was just, that stuck to me. That phrase of, I'm just like you. And I was like, absolutely. And so that is kind of like the joy.
That is amazing.
That's so heartfelt.
Very, very heartfelt. It sounds very grounding too. In the sense that we help a lot of patrons, and we also help a lot of regular patrons that are from Haven for Hope or currently or transitioning out or in. And I like that story. It really puts things into perspective that we're all living our own life.
Right.
We're all living our life. We're all trying to get through, trying our best and everything.
Alrighty. You curate the biannual resource fair at Haven for Hope. What is the fair's purpose, and how do you determine which resources and organizations to include?
So, as far as which agencies come, and so I normally I have this beautiful spreadsheet of all the agencies that I've invited, and so I send out an invite at least a couple of months ahead of time. Giving all those agencies that have come in the past, because I would love for them to come back again, an opportunity to register. Once at one certain point in time, maybe 2 weeks before the resource fair, if I still see that I have X amount of slots available, and then I start reaching out to other agencies, I utilize bare necessities.
Yeah.
I'm always looking to see, and so I kind of like send an email out to that organization and say, hey, I'm Veronica. I'm having a resource fair. Would you love to come? So on average, I have about 104 slots available for agencies. And normally I have about 4, this time around, I have 4 mobile units.
Oh,
but
that's awesome.
I of course, I want to give new agencies an opportunity to come to the resource fair. But of course, I know it's really important to stay connected with the agencies that have been coming. And that's how I make my determination. Like, I'm always looking at bare necessities, different emails going out. And I was like, hey, that's a new agency I haven't heard about, or maybe a coworker will tell me, hey, Veronica, have you reached out to so-and-so? And I was like, you know what? I haven't, let me reach out to them again.
Yeah.
And so I try to do a variety. So I have different sections for the resource fair. I have health and wellness, veteran services, housing services, employment services, and then I have my other, which is, where you fall under, the BiblioTech falls under. I just try to get different agencies, different services that are being provided, and just hopefully they accept my invitation and hopefully they come.
Yeah. And so when did that resource fair come to fruition?
So I've been doing the fair since 2018.
Okay.
So prior to that, I used to have what I would call what I had was called Community Connections on the Haven campus. And so Community Connections, this was held twice a week, and it was inside of Haven, inside our transformational services building. And I would invite normally 10 to 12 agencies to come on a Wednesday morning, and we would have kind of like a mini resource fair inside the TC building, the transformationals. Yeah. And so, so every 2 weeks I was having different agencies come. And really, it was one of my coworkers that said, Veronica, you should just have a big fair.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what are you talking about? He goes, instead of, because it's a lot of work.
Definitely.
Because every 2 weeks I'm having to invite agencies to come in different, because I would try to do, I'm going to focus on stuff for the kids. I'm going to focus stuff for, for the adult men or the adult women or healthcare. And so my coworker was just like, you should just have a big one. And I was like, yeah. I'm like, okay, where can I have it? And so I'm thinking about, where can I have it? And it just happened. I had to go to the volunteer center, and I look out into the parking lot, and I'm like,
wait a
minute. Will they let me shut down the parking lot? And I was like, of course they will. And so, and that's how it, a coworker suggested that, because she saw how I was just like all over the place, because, I have to set up the room, and then I had to go to the volunteer center to get, the partner agencies that were coming. And so I was just like, and plus I thank God for interns. I had interns helping me. My coworkers were helping me, and so, setting up the room, making sure we have refreshments and, all that good stuff. And then just doing my own research, learning about all these different agencies, because, I was like, oh, that's a great resource. And just really, I truly enjoyed doing Community Connections because it was an opportunity for me to learn. I'm like, what? You do that? I didn't know that you did that.
Yeah.
And so it was wonderful. And not only that, but it was a great opportunity for the agencies themselves to network with each other.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
You know, and so when it was suggested that I do a real big one, I was like, okay. And so the first time I did it, I had 68 agencies that participated. And then after that, it just kept growing. And then I had to stop at 104 slots.
You got to
Because
cap it
that's all
at
the
some
parking.
point.
Yeah, because that's all the parking slots that are available.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you get like some kind of feedback from the attendees, like where they share with you like, oh, I really enjoyed having these kind of resources available, and maybe like question like, oh, what other, are you interested in any other kind of resources? Like what would you like to see more of or less of, anything like that?
I do. In the very beginning, I remember a client, and this was several years ago. I had invited the Sickle Cell Association of Texas, and this mom ended up having her daughter tested and did not know. And so that was great that they were there. Mom got connected with this the Sickle Cell Association, started receiving services from them, and so it was very impactful that I saw that connection. Then there was another time, the agency, but there was two agencies that ended up establishing a partnership because of the resource fair.
Nice. That's
And
amazing.
so, both from clients getting connected, whether it's getting connected with an employer or with, Opportunity Home, because Opportunity, I invite them to come. So getting connected with them.
Yeah.
And so I just really think that it's really important, because somebody asked me, oh, why do I have to, one of our partner agencies is like, well, Veronica, we're here, they could just come to our office. And I was just like, I think it's really important for you to be there because sometimes the client just needs that little nudge. Like, hey, did you know that these are the services that you provide? Or that friendly face that says, come and see us.
Yeah, definitely.
Come and see us because, we can do that for you.
Yeah.
And I think that face-to-face contact is so important.
Yeah.
And, but going back to your original question, so yes, clients have always shared that they really enjoy going to the resource fair because it's a great opportunity to get connected to so many different types of agencies. And the same thing with with the agencies that come. I hear this every single time. I did not know.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
And I think it's so wonderful that as a city, that we have so many great nonprofit organizations that do such an array of services, and it's and just learning that. I mean, because there's always that opportunity to learn.
Yeah.
And I want to, and so it's a great learning experience because I always learn something new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
definitely.
it's all about accessibility too. I feel like that's one of your
Right.
main mission core values.
Yes.
So this resource fair definitely provides that type of accessibility.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think that human touch is so important. I know that a lot of agencies are, just, get online and do this, but having that face-to-face contact and somebody explaining and telling you, hey, come in, we can help you with that. I think that shows a lot. That that person is saying, you know what, I'm gonna go in because they said they could help me, so I think it's really important to do that.
I can definitely testify to the fact that a friendly face in person really impacts the individuals that attend that resource fair, because after we attend, we have an influx of people that come
Oh,
in
that's
from-
wonderful.
Yeah,
I'm so
from the
glad to hear
resource
that.
fair. Be like, oh, I saw y'all at the resource fair.
Yes.
I registered for a library card. I want to check this out. I want to get on the computer. I didn't know about this. And so really, really, a friendly face, and I would like to say we greet them with a friendly face.
Yes.
Which we definitely do. But it's just it's very rewarding, right?
Well,
doing these type of outreach events. And I thank you for that opportunity.
No, absolutely. And not only that, but it's so important that you made an impact.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether you want, you change,
Right?
you made a change in somebody's life.
Yeah.
Because you were there, you made that connection. And so hopefully more positive things will come out of that encounter.
And these resource fairs, like, they're available to the public, right?
Absolutely.
Everybody, not only clients.
It's open to everybody. Yeah, I sent in an invite through Bare Necessities that it's open to the public. And so, it's wonderful. We have a bus stop right in front of Haven.
Yeah.
And so, people get down and, they walk around the fairgrounds.
Yeah.
And so I do have a sign-in table, and I give out right about 250 goodie bags because I want to kind of like calculate how many people are walking through. And so this past fair, we had 368 people that we counted.
Nice.
And that goes to show, and that of course doesn't count the people that just did not come and sign in.
Yeah, definitely. And so kind of gearing towards the end of the interview. So for those listening who want to support Haven for Hope, right? What are some ways that they can get involved or contribute to its mission?
Oh, absolutely. So thank you so much for asking that. So I would encourage people to go to our website, havenforhope.org, O-R-G. And if you kind of like scroll all the way down the webpage, there is a tab to volunteer. There's tabs to donate. And so if you want to volunteer as an individual, we have a lot of volunteers at Haven. So on a monthly basis, I think I read we have about 150 volunteers
Nice.
that come to Haven on a monthly basis to support. And if you want to donate, you could donate individually, or if you want to donate as a group, there are ways for you to do that. And then along with that, there are the most needed items that are advertised on our webpage.
Awesome.
And so for those that are volunteering, what are some of the things that they do while they're volunteering?
So, for example, my department is client services, and I oversee the operations of the TC building and the resource center as far as the front desk. And so as a volunteer, if you want to, you could help us at the front desk. And that means you're checking in clients, you're calling the staff member, hey, so-and-so is here for your appointment. And so, because the front desk, we want to make sure that our clients are getting connected to their appointments, or or walking during walking hours. So I have volunteers doing that, helping us out with the front desk. I also oversee the navigation center. So the navigation center, if you think of it, it's kind of like a student center. There's computers in there, and so our clients are able to go into the navigation center. They need to check their emails or work on a resume, and so we have volunteers that go in there. So if they want to be able to help a client, let's say a client's not familiar with how to create an email, so we can have a volunteer there also. One of my coworkers who oversees the Income Skills and Development Department, which is the employment department, he has volunteers that come specifically to help clients with research, their resumes, and applying for jobs. So there's a variety of ways as a volunteer that you could come. You could come on a regular basis. Let's say every Tuesday afternoon you're going to come and help out the front desk. Or you could come just a one-time opportunity, and maybe you're helping out on Saturday and you're helping us out in the warehouse and you're doing hygiene packets. Or,
I see.
Gotcha. So it just depends.
Are there requirements to be a volunteer?
Yes, there is. Don't quote me on this, but I mean, as far as like, are you talking about children or adults?
Adults.
Okay, adults. You just need to once again go on our website. There is an application application form that needs to be filled out. And once that has been cleared, and then, yes, our volunteer department will reach out to you. My coworker, his name is DJ Jackson. He's a wonderful senior manager of volunteer services. He will connect with that individual or with the group, depending on what they want to do on our campus.
Nice. That's amazing.
And so you, as children or adults, children can volunteer too?
So yes. So for example, as long as the child is accompanying the parent and they're going to be on the north side of our campus, and the kids do need to be at least 10 years old. So perfect example, a couple of Fridays ago, we had a movie night. And Broadway Bank was helping us out. They were volunteering. And so they brought their kids to help us during the movie night. And so they were in charge of giving out the chips and the water bottles. And so it was a great opportunity for not only the adult volunteers to help, but for their kids to help out.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is so awesome to hear.
So so just depending on the event, that could happen.
No, I was just curious, what kind of feedback do you get from the children, like after they complete a volunteer event like that?
They are very excited, that they were able to help out, and then plus they're seeing other kids, and so, sometimes the kids end up playing with, playing with each other. Of course the parents are trying to, hey, you're here to work, and so, but it's a little bit of both, So,
Yeah,
I mean, they
definitely.
just get to see, a different aspect of what happens in real life.
Right. I imagine it being like a big learning experience for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that is great. I grew up in this area, like right by Lanier. I went to Lanier Tafoya de Zavala. And so it's great hearing that there's this opportunity to volunteer, in my area that I grew up in. I work, BiblioTech West is located in the inner city west side. So I'm right there where I grew up. And so I love this. And I'm going to check that out. I think I'm going to go ahead and volunteer. That's amazing.
Well, we would love for you to come and volunteer. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, of course, being BiblioTech and a library, we understand that you are incredibly busy. But in your downtime, is there anything that you're currently reading?
Yes. So I'm reading this book. It's called Daily Prayers, and it was given to me by a good friend of mine. And so right now I am reading that and enjoying that very much.
That's awesome. Do you ever get things from like, clients that you help, like Miss, check this out. I just read it. I think it would be really great if you ever read that.
Not recently, but during COVID, so I'm not sure if y'all were aware of this. So we had a hotel that we had clients because of the separation, and so my job duties kind of like changed a little bit during COVID because at that point, we couldn't do any activities or anything, and so myself and my coworkers, I've reached out to friends, for books and stuff like that. And so we had so many books donated. And so we were responsible for getting books, taking them over to the hotel. And so we would go floor by floor, in addition to all the books. Nice. The books that we gave out, but like coloring sheets and markers and colored pencils and everything. And so there was this young man, I recently saw him. He's already left Haven and he's doing really, really good. And he was like, Veronica, I remember every single day you all would come through with the cart giving out books. And he goes, that really, really helped me out. And so, it's wonderful to hear that, we made that type of impact.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
That is amazing. Yeah.
Well, thank you once again for joining us on this
Absolutely.
episode of BiblioTech on Air, Veronica. It's amazing to hear everything that you do and just, how much your contributions have really like turned people's lives around and just how much of an impact you've really had on our community. So thank you again for, giving us a little bit of insight onto like what you do.
Well, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. And please know that I think all of us make an impact.
Definitely.
I mean, in what all the different jobs that we have, if you're making a connection with somebody and you're helping them out, you're making a difference. And I think that's really important, that we continue to have that face-to-face contact, because I know technology is advancing so much here, not only here in San Antonio, across the world. But I really think it's really important that we continue to connect with people and have that face-to-face contact.
Not to be something we take for granted.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's really important to be able to talk to somebody in person, and so they could see that, that we do care, that we do want to help.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a wonderful outlook. Wonderful outlook. But that's going to end it for us here. Thank you guys for listening. Once again, I'm Rosanna.
I'm Ruby.
And I'm Israel.
And make sure you check out havenforhope.org for more of those resources. We'll catch you on the next episode.